What's up? So, another update video. This boy is now almost 97. Nothing really has changed much. I expect some damage into ES for survivability. Gear is pretty much the exact same. Still don't have a multimodded weapon. And I started leveling the cast on crit ball. Well, girl, I guess in this case. And it's a Ascendant. Ascendant, Pathfinder into the path, like Ranger start to get here. And then Slayer, because Slayer Leech is it's just dumb pretty much. So here's the current skill tree. This is probably gonna be staying exactly the same. I will eventually take these nodes, and yeah, then it's just like filling out. I will probably take Winter Spirit at some point, maybe end game, because I have a Glacial Cascade. Though it's not ideal right now how I have it. I should have Frostball here instead of Glacial Cascade. Like this should be the setup where you have Ice Nova, Glacial Cascade here, and then Frostball and Ice Nova here. The reason I'm using Glacial Cascade here instead of here because I don't have 100% conversion. You know, if I were to take these nodes, I could slap my Glacial Cascade here. But since I'm using Shroud of the Lidless right now, I would only get pen for the 60% of the Glacial Cascade, so I'm like, whatever. But yeah, choosing Cosplay Smallest with a Lyco. If you don't have a Lyco, don't use a Cosplay. Just don't do it. Yeah. Your attack, like chance to hit, is abysmal with this build. At least how I build it. Just some random gloves with attack speed, life, crafted damage for leeching, just random belt. I'm actually not gonna be using the cooldown recovery speed here. It's just here to showcase that when you have focus, so if you look at the bottom there, you have wall back while focused, and then 10% leech damage leech as life while focused. So this belt lowers the cooldown time of your focus, which gives you higher uptime, and focus is insane, especially for a build like this. For the 10% leech, it gives me a really long leech whenever I slap that, and it's only a 12 second cooldown with a 4-second uptime. And also when I focus, I shock everything near me, which I think it's a 10% shock. Either way, it's pretty good. And yeah, it's basically like a wall skill, except instead of needing souls, you just have to wait a bit. So it's really nice for bossing. And no, you can't increase the duration of this with temp change or anything like that. Tried it. I mean, it makes sense that you can because it's just bonkers. But yeah, I'll actually have two different POE skill trees on this description below, and as well the current POE for what I have right now while making this video, so you see the differences. There's a lot of things you can do with this. If you don't have a Malice and the Lyco combo, you can actually just grab EE and then drop Glacial Cascade and go with Frostbolt and Ice Nova alone in a chess piece. It's really nice. And speaking of the chess piece, I had my first 6-link of the league yesterday on a chest that I, wanted to use. I'll actually show you a clip of it quick. I think this was around 600, 700 users on this chest. I have it muted because I probably have some music in there and it's gonna mute the video for YouTube, and then some people can't even watch it. That's, by the way, not a macro. if you see here at the bottom, you can actually see my fingers. I'm using like 2 fingers to do it, like this. It's pretty fast. So the reason I wanted to use perfect form, I mean, it's not the ideal test, but we just had meant to have one, so like, fuck it, let's use that, is it gives me face aggro and 100% reduced Arctic mana reservation. So those 2 things are pretty nutty. So it saved me 4 points. Sure, I get another 10% dodge for the attacks here, but it saved me these 4 points. And as you can see, I'm still like, I don't have crit multi here. I'm missing crit multi here. You know, don't have this yet. So I'm just missing a lot of damage. I could also take the crit chance here. I think I'm like 84% crit chance right now when I have Asmark. When I can curse like monsters with Asmark, like non-bosses, and have my power charges. So that's okay. And yeah. My helm needs to be crafted. I did a Frittich crafted helm for -9 cold resist. And speaking of cold resist, the reason why I went with cold skills is not only I wanted to do Frostbolt, Ice Nova. So if you don't know, I can actually show you. With Ice Nova and Frostbolt, there's a nice interaction here. So when you cast the Frostbolt, you can cast your Ice Nova on the Frostbolt. And as you can see, it actually proc 2 Ice Novas. So Frostbolt is actually legit basically 100% more multiplier to your Ice Nova. So you can think Frostbolt as a support gem for Ice Nova that also does damage on its own. So it's really damn nice. So I have the Frostbolt on my cast on crit and the Ice Nova, and then I have another Ice Nova on my sword. And this sword and the cast on crit gem don't share the cooldown, so I can actually proc this Ice Nova and this Ice Nova at the same time on Frostbolt, so I can actually get like 4 Ice Novas on like 1 crit with Frostbolt and a Glacial Cascade on top. So that's like 6 spell casts on a single like target that it hits, which is pretty damn nasty. So that's why I wanted to go with cold skills, and also because Frost Bomb is -25 cold resist. You have the 75% reduced life regen, which is really strong against like beefy beasts. And then because we have a new support, Bone Chill, which makes the effect of the chill on a skill that it's linked also be a increased damage taken modifier. Kind of like when you shock something, like you can shock up to 50%, right? So this would be like additive with that. But I only have like 10% shock, so it's like whatever. And that's why I'm actually using Arctic Armor, as you can see. So I'm linked the Bone Shield to my Arctic Armor. So I think the base Arctic Armor chill, like this Crown Chill, is like 10%. So I will always have that as damage taken increase for the monsters. Except it also has 42% chill effect here. And then I have some chill effect somewhere here. So that's actually like 15% damage taken increase. And when something hits me, they get chilled for 0.5 seconds for the maximum chill effect, which is 30%. So instead of the 50%, I actually have 30% increased damage taken on the monsters. So that's a really strong setup. You don't necessarily have to do Arctic Armor. You could like literally have Bone Chill on a Cold Snap or Vortex self-cast. For example, Vortex is an instant skill now with a cooldown, so it's really easy to apply if you want to. I'm just lazy. I already have to use the focus. I have Blood Rage with Arcane Surge, so I get a 7-second Arcane Surge with my increased duration here right now, which is really nice. So that's already 2 skills I need to like kinda maintain using shield charge, of course. I'm missing attack speed. The quality of my shield charge is only level 17. Missing a lot of attack speed, so this is just gonna get faster and faster. What else? Oh yeah, about the helm. So you can actually craft trigger socketed spells when you focus, or I think yeah. So you should have focus on this build. You should absolutely have you have wallback while focused and the damage leech. Even though like I already have 0.4 leech from here. Otherwise you would have to use Warlord's Mark. And I'd rather use Asmark for getting my power charges right now. But in an endgame setup, which you'll see in the BOB links, there's also Warlord's Mark. I can actually probably show it a bit in the video as well. So what you could do is you could have the Vortex or whatever skill you want to use for the Bone Chill. So you could have like Vortex, Bone Chill, and Frost Bomb here. And I wouldn't put Blood Rage because you want to use the Blood Rage to proc the Arcane Surge myself, in my opinion. But you could have the Frost Bomb plus Bone Chill setup. So whenever you focus, you would use the skills, and then you just do a massive amount of increased damage on top of already the shocking. And then because you have the extra leech, it would make your leech instances that you get while you're focused last even longer than they do. Right now my boots are kind of suboptimal because they have the int. I need the int for my sword right now. But ideally you would craft boots. You would actually multimod boots, in my opinion. You would go for the 35 movement speed, so you need 86 boots. Could even go for Shaper boots and try to roll for cooldown recovery speed, which makes focus better. It also makes cast when damage taken better, because there's a cooldown. And well, obviously the custom crits, the custom crit gem and the Cosper's Malice would also benefit from that. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Also in my case right now, my shade form, which usually really doesn't care. You should not use this chest in my opinion. Unless, I mean, it's a good chest. Don't get me wrong, but if you're playing the EE variant, you already get minus 50 resist on top of Frost Bomb. So that's only minus 75. So unless you're fighting monsters with like actually 75 resistances, it's not that great. Most of the time monsters are already in like minus resistances anyways. And you probably get minus 9 from the helm. If you're a Pathfinder, that's another 6%. So yeah. But in boots, you could craft. I don't even actually know if I have the craft. I think there's a suffix. I don't think I have it. But yeah, there's a craft that is increased damage for non-vault skills while you have soul gain prevention. I think it goes up to like 60% or something like that. So whenever you use your wall righteous fire, you will also get a 20-second, assuming you're having like increased duration or whatever, 60% increased damage for your spells. So that's like a lot. And then you have the damage while leeching. Like the new master mods added so many good crafts for this build. On top of course, the huge buff to cast on crit. Yeah, I'll actually show you a quick, do a random map. So I'm like level 80, 84. So let's just go like a duo. Actually, I wanna kill the boss too. So let's not do that map. Let's go like Leyline or something like that. So the only map mod you really can't do with this build are Ellie Reflect and No Leech. Everything else is, you can do them, but of course if you've been playing hardcore, then you probably want to think about doing like crazy damage mod things. But yeah. You can also use Blade Flurry. It has a bit higher attack speed than Cyclone, but I just personally really wanted to play with Cyclone. I will probably use Blade Flurry if I want to do some kind of bossing, because it makes the Arctic Armor even better because I'm standing still, so we'll also get the less multiplier to damage taken from physical and I think it's fire hits, yeah. And I forgot to mention, I'm using Hatred, not only because I have Glacial Cascade, but because I happen to have a base crit while you have Hatred. What's your side? So that's pretty nice. So what we do is we just pop the Wall Ranger's Fire, focus, and then it usually dies rather fast. Let's just spend it there. So yeah, if you don't have the Watcher's Eye for Hatred, I would recommend using either Double Heralds or Haste, I think, if you're playing like this variant. If you're playing a EE variant, you just run Haste. Yeah, let me actually quickly show you what I would like to have as my endgame. That was what I planned before the league started. And that is with a Farrell's 4, so you can get a free, like, no mana reservation aspect of the cat, which will maintain your frenzy and power charges during boss fights, which is really, really nice. And then, of course, because I was going for the, let's check what we can do, so we have Double Meek and Unnatural Instinct as well. You don't need it. If you don't have Unnatural, you literally just do this instead. It's 3 extra points, but you get the crit multi from there. So if you don't have it, you take these crit multi nodes. You will take these regardless. And you will probably have these as well. And because, it was an end game setup, like just tinkering, what you can do is I don't actually have Wall Pact on my skill tree, and instead I will have it from Acuities. I think these are probably the best Insult Gloves endgame, because it will give you all the int you need for the Corpse. Right now, I am using Pure Talent, that gives me 25 all attributes from the Scion start. I'll get 7% movement speed from the Ranger, and I could go through like the attack speed and then physical and chaos damage into Shadow to get another 0.5 base crit. But I'm already like 84% crit chance, and when I take this node, I'll get another like what 5.5 plus that. So yeah, it's gonna have like 88% crit chance, which is more than enough, I feel. And of course, you would use a Taste of Hate because of the Glacial Cascade. And here with like 2 different Blade Flurry and then the Cyclone. I actually have all of the I guess mandatory things here set up, and have an idea like what kind of items you would want. This is literally a multi-modded after you have just annulled or like meta-crafted your minus cold resist helm to 1 mod rare. Not ideal, but something you can do. This also open suffix, so you could have you actually have room on this to slap in trigger socketed spells when you focus. Obviously, we have the Farrells, we have Acuities. There's a lot of good chests. You could have a Elder chest for a base crit chance for your attack. If you feel like your crit chance isn't high enough, you could have probably the better for DPS, even better than a Farrells, is a Shaper chest with +1 active skills and spell crit chance. So that's something to keep in mind. Again, multimodded boots. This is literally just multimodded boots with 30 movement speed. Obviously, you would go for 35. You can get like 90 life. You can get 40 resist from one suffix, which is really nice. Of course, it's not what you look for. And then just this, the 56% damage is the wall Righteous Fire soul game prevention damage. I have my current amulet here. Honestly, I don't think of a better amulet than this. In the endgame setup, you would also use Mark of the Shaper to get the massive 60 to 80% spell damage from an Elder Ring. So you would have an Elder Ring as the other one, of course. And it doesn't matter where you craft the aspect, but again, another multimodded item, and you could just craft the aspect here. And so basically what you would do is just go for the Warlord's Mark, because it gives you some occasional endurance charges, which makes your Immortal Call last longer. It gives you a lot more leech. It gives you mana leech. Right now, I have 1 point in here, which allows my Ghost Priest to give me all the mana leech I need for single target. While you're using Cyclone, you might have some mana issues if you don't have that 1 point mana leech. And then back to the ring. So then you just have the global crit chance and crit multi if you shatter an enemy. It could also be resistances. There's damage. Just that's a prefix. The 5% attack speed is actually 0 to 10%, depending on what rotation aspect of the cat has. And you also see I have 130% like a global crit as the implicit, but that's because again the aspect of the cat gives you 100% crit chance or 10% attack speed. It gives also avoid taking damage completely, I think, like all damage sources, or from hits. Then it like makes monsters harder to see you, and it's just really nice. And just giving you a free reservation is just really nice. Random ass belt. This belt could be like literally crafted with pristine plus prismatic. Not into shabby. You can craft some flask mods. You can craft the cooldown recovery speed in there. Just a random onslaught jewel. Well, obviously the flasks. You want to use a diamond flask. You want to use a quicksilver. The last flask ideally would not be a life flask, but hey. The double mix, the unnatural, the watchers, and then just a couple attack speed, crit multi-life jewels. So this is actually really far from like a totally min-max setup still. And there are other chest piece choices as well. So you could use, other than the two that I already mentioned, you could use Lore Weave, you could use Belly. There's a Onslaught chest, I don't remember the name of it, that was literally buffed this league. Darts of Defiance. If you have 100% Onslaught effect, it gives, instead of giving 20% attack and 20% attack and movement speed, well, cast speed too, it instead gives you 40. So that's really damn nice. It also gives you a bit of chance to attack, dodge for attacks, which is nice because we already have 40% here. And actually, speaking of the multimodded boots, instead of going for the 35%, wait, actually not here. What you would ideally do, I think, if you don't want the cooldown reduction, is you go for a temple boots like this. I think there's also a version with spell dodge hybrid for the movement speed, and then you would just multimod from there. So I might actually multimod these boots like they are right now. Once I get the int from somewhere else. So yeah, Carcass Jack is obviously a choice as well. Has a lot of AoE, some extra damage. It's nice, except the extra gore. That's fucking sucks balls ass. Yeah, another gloves option instead of something like this is a Tomb Fist. Gives attack speed, life. You could maim, so you would just maim is just like makes monsters be slower. So that's of course an option as well. There's just a lot of things you can think around with this. And when it comes to the skill tree, this can be very easily made for a bow build. If you want to use the custom grip bow, you take this, and then you drop the acuities. You can, if you don't have acuities like I don't, I will just have it like this as the tree here. So that's really nice. That's 80% crit chance and 3% attack speed. This is actually really good nodes for this, like a custom crit build. But for a normal attack build, these are usually really bad nodes. But for the custom crit, these are nice. You could also very easily play this with a two-handed sword. If you want a sword crit, there's some here, but you don't really need any of these. Yeah, you can play this in so many different ways. You have the EE, it's literally just one node to take. On the, if you don't want to do the Glacial Cascade setup, instead of doing this, you could also do something like this instead, and then drop all of that completely. And for the EE setup, you can use a dagger, and that's 90% crit chance for daggers. I'll have the 3 for you there. But just to give you an idea, there's like so many things you can do differently. It's pretty amazing. And you can actually play this, right, the setup I have right now with Calm's Heart if you want to. And, well, just to give you an idea how much extra life Calm's is to a Farul's, it's a lot. So if you want to play Calm's Heart, you can. But that requires you to do, there's a couple different things you can do. First one is horror craft a pair of gloves. Ideally it probably be the spell damage glove. I think it's fingerless gloves, yeah. And you do horror craft. Do they have them here somewhere? Let me just... It's probably somewhere, but I'm just too lazy, so I'll just do this. So you can have an Essence of Horror on gloves. Gives 3.5 base crit. So this is like the more percentage crit chance you have, the better this is in comparison to the actual increased crit gems. So you could have Horrorcraft on your gloves, and on top of that, if you have the gloves being Shaper gloves, you can get crit multi up to 70% for the spell, which is really nice. It's basically like a increased crit multi support. If you have Elder, there's faster attacks, which isn't the best, but it's something, you know, getting a bit of attack speed, and then your Cyclone or Blade Flurry would be linked with faster attacks for more procs. So that's an option. But the better option would be a helm. There's a random helm here. And you actually can do both Elder and Shaper. So for Elder helm, you have a conk effect. So you wouldn't want to have Frostbolt here. So I mean, ideally you would have Frostbolt and one Ice Nova in the sword, and then you would have Glacial Cascade and Ice Nova in the helm. At least in the setup how I'm playing right now. So you'd have the base crit chance for the attack, which makes it proc more. You would have conk effect. There's also flat damage spells. There's Immolate, which is flat damage to burning enemies. So if you have like one fire damage somewhere, you can ignite, and then you get a lot of flat fire damage. And there again Horrorcraft for 30% more. So if you get Horrorcraft and conk effect, that's already a 6-link helm. If you were to hit this as well, now it's basically a 7-link. Or 6.5, because it doesn't give base crit chance to the spell, but you know, and you can have this like, you can have Shaper Helm for cold damage, lightning damage spells. These are actually are really good rolls. You can have power charge on kill. You don't, and if you have this, you don't need Asmark at all. You could have hypothermia. Hypothermia is one of the best in slot gems anyways. It has a chill effect, which is really nice. You have spell crit chance, and again, so if you hit horror plus hypothermia, that's a 6 link. And then you could get another crit chance for your spell. But the issue with this is that you kinda need to link. You're gonna have a really low attack crit chance, so you have to invest a lot more into attack crit at that point, and then you would have to definitely take that. Probably even go here if you're using the Cospris, because you know you'd have the skill that you're using, cast on crit, 2 spells, so that's already a 4 link, right? So you would have to drop one of the spells if you don't want to use crit strikes. So if you want to, like, you would have to drop. What am I saying? You would have to drop a spell if you want to use crit strikes. And yeah, this is becoming quite a long video already, but at least I covered a lot of the possibilities, showcased the map, all that, and in the description I'll have the exact skill tree I have right now, and then I have an EE setup. I have an EE setup as well here, which is, this is with the same gear. I don't have other like gear setups other than I made a multimodded dagger with attack speed and then hits can't be evade. This actually gets a lot more attack speed, it gets better crit chance, but I haven't calculated if it's better because you're losing 2 spells from the sword, but at the same time it allows you to run a shield like this. So yeah, the non-malice, non-LIGO setup works just fine, and this is, while it's not fully min-maxed, this is like definitely above the average gear sets you have, and Pharaohs is definitely not needed. It's just really nice because then you will maintain charges for boss fights if you want to do bosses very easily, and it gives you a lot of crit chance and some attack speed. Yeah, hopefully this I guess this mini guide for the build is helpful, and you will find some interesting stuff to do with the grid. I've definitely been liking it a lot this league, and there's at least one more crit cast and crit build that I might want to do. That's a CI version though. But yeah, until next time. Oh wait, wrong hand.